Hey, and welcome everybody to your favorite weekly series where Grace Under Pressure, where we feature royal consorts from around the known world, starting with some of our favorite duchesses. This week is Duchess Kortland Sterling Mayfair. Next week we will be interviewing Duchess Zenobia of Antir and
West.
Shit.
She's from the West and now she lives in Ontario, but she reigned in the West.
Technically, I was right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, aren't we all of the West when it comes right down to it? So welcome this week and every week to Sir Joel de Grace, who started in the SCA long ago in what is now the Kingdom of North Shield and is now in Callantir by way of the Outlands and Artemisia and a bunch of other places. I don't know why he is inconstant in this way, except for maybe his mundane world pulls him from place to place. But we like to think that he leaves a positive mark on every place that he goes. Look, that was a nice thing I said.
That was really nice.
That was really nice. That's right.
I'm waiting for the counterpunch now.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that everybody really likes his wife, Lady Aniela. So fun fact about Joel for this week is that he owns and wears Crocs proudly. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's
Cheers
fun
to
for
that.
somebody. Yeah. I mean, it's fun for somebody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're comfortable, they're efficient, they're real shoes. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Duchess Dagmar of Antir. Her first reign was as a princess of Sinagua in the West, and she has since gone on to have two reigns in Antir with her husband, Duke Thorne Nielsen. 2 weeks I've gotten that right now.
Yeah.
Oh. This week's fun fact about her Grace is that she does not believe Crocs are shoes, but they make excellent ammunition.
I mean, they're basically Nerf. They're Nerf shoes, right?
They throw really well.
Yeah. Okay. They do float, which is important if you have a toddler. It's always important to know if your shoes float. So we would like to extend a special thank you to Ashaxi and Rifkin for hosting Grace Under Pressure on the Sisters Network. And now, Joel, if you would please introduce to everybody our esteemed guest.
Oh my goodness, I would love to. Everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us this week. As always, we love that you tune in and watch with us. This week, we are so fortunate to have one of my genuinely favorite people on the face of the planet, and also probably the shortest person to ever terrify me. I will tell that story a little bit later, but we are joined by Duchess Kortland this week. She is a Laurel, a Pelican, and a Griffin of Artemisia, which for those of you watching that may be from like Antir, that is Artemisia's equivalent of a Lion of Antir or Outland's Walker of the Way. It is a very prestigious award to have. Duchess Kortland, thank you so much for joining us this week. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm happy to be here.
Joel, if you could lean into your mic just a little more.
I do what I want.
Great. Yeah. Or talk louder.
Okay, I will talk louder. I apologize, everybody.
It's okay.
So, and also for everybody watching, happy birthday to our guest, Duchess Kortland. Thank you. Yay, happy birthday. We love you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending your birthday with us.
You bet.
Well, the first question we always like to ask is just to find out a little bit about your SCA origins and what brought you to the SCA and kind of how you started out with this.
Well, I to begin with, I really didn't want to be part of the SCA at all. In the beginning, I thought it was not for me and not a group of people I really wanted to be with. Clearly, I was wrong.
And I mean, we all feel that way sometimes.
Well, yeah, I was young and I was into clubbing and going out, and it was something my sister was doing. And just, normally I never did anything that my sister did just on principle. But a very good friend of mine actually was going to go to an event with her. And she'd promised her she would go with her. My sister was like, okay, great. And then my girlfriend Sandy, she canceled on her in the last minute. And my sister called me and she's like, I'm not going to this alone. You have to come with me, Carrie. And I was like, I don't want to go to that. And she was like, you're coming with me. And I was like, she's very forceful at times. And so I did go with her. And I mean, I wore the craziest outfit I could possibly wear. And oddly, I wasn't hooked then, but I was intrigued at that point. I got hooked when I met a boy.
Boy.
That was the reeled me in.
So, you've been fortunate enough to have a couple of reigns now. Is my audio coming in better now?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay. All
Sound
right.
good.
I tinkered a little bit. But you've been fortunate enough to have a couple of reigns now. And so you have some great experience. What would current you go back and tell pre-first reign you? What kind of a piece of advice would you like to give to yourself before your first reign?
Well, I actually got this advice from a very wise Duchess the day that Conrad won crown. And she said to me, your first reign, you're going to think that you do everything right. And then she told me, your second reign, you're going to try to fix all the things that you totally jacked up the first time. And your third reign, you need to just let it be yours. And after that, I mean, she's reigned like 100 times, but after that, let it be you and have fun and just don't sweat the small stuff and let it go. And I really wish I would have moved on to that third reign advice for my first reign.
So one of the questions that we kind of like asking is, what's kind of a humorous?
Joel
why?
kind of likes asking this.
Okay, yes.
He really
I like
likes
kind of
this.
asking this because I make humorous mistakes all the time.
Well, hit me, Joel.
So what would you say would be kind of a humorous misstep that you may have taken while on the throne?
I never make mistakes, Joel. A humorous misstep.
Or just something that you may have been able to laugh at in hindsight and learn from?
Well, one time I presented a gift basket, and I'm sure that if anybody's watching, they were there. And I basically said to the crown, when you're done reigning, you end up with a bunch of stuff, a bunch of gifties to give to people. And I'm kind of glad that we've moved away from that in the SCA, because people's art and effort are put into some more bigger things. But I presented in court this basket, and it was this big, pretty basket that I'd put together. And I was like, oh, the presentation is lovely. And basically what I said to their majesties was, Conrad and I now present to you this useless basket of shit. I didn't say shit, but basically that's what I said. And everyone stopped and it was silent. And I was like, what have I just done? And they all, they still mocked me for it. It was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. I know it doesn't seem embarrassing when I say it out loud like that. It was embarrassing. I'm sorry, I said the S word.
I've had times where I put together gift baskets using Dollar Tree stuff, and it was useless, but that was because I was reigning as a swan princess. And when you're a swan princess, you give away a lot of swan stuff. Sure, and it's just the way it is. So when you find swan candy bowls or whatever, you give them away, but you tell people, if this breaks, it's not a tragedy. You should let it break or just throw it in the garbage when you're done. So it's really awful.
I think I said something like of no sentimental value or I thought I was being forsooth and it was bad.
Got it. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, we don't, I think you're right though, that if people are giving things away anymore, they're usually labeled that they're intended to be given as largesse. I think that's a trend here. So you get 5 of something because the intention is that you're going to give them to somebody else. And that's part of what you're gifted, is opportunity to gift something to somebody else. And I think that's a nice way of doing it. So
I want free stuff.
You want free stuff? Oh, Joel, be careful what you wish for.
Careful.
I'm sure I have some things in a bin somewhere that we couldn't give away.
I put your address in the comments.
Just leave it in there. Everyone leave a like and go ahead.
There's former royalty all over the known world who would love to send you some like crocheted bookmarks or something that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll do that. So You became a Duchess in 2004. So
okay.
that we did a little research for you. I know sometimes the years all blend together. So I totally get that. And I'm sure the SCA has changed a lot since you started out.
Mhm.
Like, as you mentioned, you and I have been in for a while, but maybe not as long as some. So, coming in when we did, I've certainly seen changes. And when you reign over a number of years, the way you operate your reigns also changes. And I would love to hear a little bit about how that has been for you.
Well, I think my first two reigns, first of all, you're only as good a king and queen as the people who are supporting you behind the thrones, because those are the people that make everything happen and like give you this gift of service so you can do this job that you're lucky to have, right? But really, my first two reigns, I was like project manager on top of things, and I was like, this is how we do it. And I mean, I'm still like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm still very, very much type A like that. But my third reign, I just didn't sweat it as much, right? I rolled with it, and where it was a little more looser in organization. But that's, I mean, if that answers your question.
Tell me about the people that you had supporting you.
Well, I mean, today is a good day for me to talk about them because they're super amazing.
Yeah.
It
And
made your birthday pretty special.
they have made today very special for me. And they also, anytime I've reigned and after, in between, they treat me like I'm queen all the time. And it's very lucky for me that they afford me that luxury and that gift that they give me. And they allow me to come up with ideas and implement them sometimes they don't, and then I throw a little fit. But I have the best girlfriends in the world. I couldn't ask for a better bunch of girlfriends, and they've had my back the whole time.
Would you like to take a look at some slides, and perhaps some of those folks are in your photos?
Oh, no.
We could do that now. So
Sure, whatever you like.
That's what I like. Let's do it. So this is the one that was top of the pile when you sent over your photos.
Oh, I have such a crush on that man.
That's the hero of my story.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So for those who may be watching that don't know who that is, Your Grace, would you like to introduce the fine subject in the picture?
The fine subject. Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
I know, the guy that-
This is Conrad von Krickson. That's my husband.
It looks a little like he just got kneed by an arrow, and he's taking a knee and scowling down at it.
I want to say this was at Honor War a couple years ago. And the gentleman actually who took this picture is from Ontier, I believe. But this is what he does when he's just resting.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. All right.
No, he could have. He could have, I'm sure he loves archers.
The picture leaves out that he's like 7 feet tall, by the way.
Yeah, he's tall.
This is adorable.
Oh, this is when my husband, this picture is probably my most favorite SCA picture that I have. I have a lot of really good, wonderful moments, but first of all, my outfit's completely crazy, so don't judge me on that thing. But this is when my husband was offered his knighthood. And you see Sean, Sean's mentioned in all these videos. Everybody loves Sean. There's Sean in the background. And
he looks like he has a mullet.
Oh,
he did have a mullet. It was a sweet mullet. It was a sweet mullet.
That is the wickedest of mullets.
It was a good one for sure. But he was actually made the first peer of our kingdom, the first knight of our kingdom. So everyone was pretty excited.
It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, This is when we were made our investiture for Baron and Baroness. And again, some crazy outfits. Some crazy outfits. But yeah, same site, different event, totally different. Well, same event, but a different date. This is the first time I think he won crown. Yeah, it's the first time. He's going to kill me because he would never wear his coif like that now. But first time. So I'm princess there, I think. Yep. Yeah. Oh, this is our first reign. And here, some of you might know Count Yuri the Yak Slapper, Sir Yuri the Yak Slapper. Here we are making him premier of the grant level award, the Defender of the Citadel, which is our kingdom's grant fighting award.
It's a great picture.
There's Yuri there with his white belt on, very different. He wasn't a knight in that other picture. We made him win the second reign. But this is Penzik, our second reign. And I'm sure we're going to a royal dinner since we're all, that's madness right there. Velvet at Penzik.
I don't remember much from Penzik, but what
I'm
I
a
do
costuming
remember,
Laurel, so let me just say that is why I focus on my clothes so much, because then I look back and I have regrets. So,
but your clothes always
like
look
that.
so amazing.
Well, you're very sweet. I like that dress though. That dress I like a lot. And here, I believe this is our second reign, and we are making this beautiful woman, her name is Morwenna, a pelican, and she had given of herself to our kingdom over and over again in a variety of ways as exchequer. She's an amazing person, and we were just recognizing her.
Any comments about your outfit?
I hate that outfit. It's an outfit I got my Laurel in. And it's like I had this pressure to make this big hoo-ha outfit. And
I didn't dress my hoo-ha up at all when I was laureled. What a missed opportunity.
It could have been a lot better, but I let pressure get me.
Yeah. Plus I got elevated to laurel at Ontario West War, which
nice.
Yeah, but after you've been camping a couple days, like ugh.
It's rough. It's rough.
Okay.
This is the last time my husband won crown tournament. And this is right before, how they name you the crown prince and princess. And I had asked that our household come forward before their majesties did it and lay their hands on us. So we had their support while it happened.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think this is our stepping down, our third reign. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. See, this is, I had kind of started phasing into my Byzantine stuff. So.
It's a great site.
More big dresses.
Yeah.
Is Byzantine your costuming passion?
It definitely is now. I was recognized as an Elizabethan costuming Laurel. That was my emphasis at the time. But really, I mean, truth be told, I put way more effort and research into Byzantine studies than I ever did Elizabethan studies.
We will have to talk.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm moving also.
Yeah, I love it. Come to the dark side.
Yeah, it's so much fun, but it's, people think that because there's so many extant like mosaics that it's easy to research, and it's not. There's many periods where we have a lot more evidence than, especially if you're not royalty,
right. And, I will tell you, there is a lady, her name is Anna, and she was just recognized for her Byzantine studies in Trimaris, what was it, 3 weeks ago or a month ago or something like that. And she is a wonderful resource. So
I'm on her Facebook group.
Oh, are you on the SCA Byzantine? Are you on SCA Byzantine? That's good. Yeah. I have books too. So if you need any assistance, let me know.
Yeah. Well, I just mean, people, I think, take it for granted that we know lots about the Byzantine period. And
well, there's that whole joke of now that I got my laurel, I can wear Viking. People say that, but
they don't live in Ontario.
Well, A, they don't live in Ontario, and B, they don't really understand the difficulty of research. Not that being Elizabethan emphasis or a late period emphasis isn't difficult, it absolutely is, but the type of sources and credibility of sources is vastly different than earlier period works.
Well, so I have a question for you, and this isn't something I've thought to ask before because I think I take it for granted. I was a laurel before I was queen. And
Sure.
I think, for people who are laurels before they reign, I'm always curious if they feel a different kind of pressure about the example they set in what they wear, or how they look at that. And the other question I might have for you in particular is, in Artemisia, is there a culture of people making the crown's clothing for them?
First, I actually can't answer the first question because I was a laurel when I became queen.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood that question then. And I put pressure on, I can only speak for myself, and I can tell you, and my girlfriends will tell you, that many times after I got my laurel, I would say, okay, do I look okay? Do I look like a laurel? Do I look like, because I didn't want to go to an event and not represent my order in a good way. And like, do I look like that? And I used to almost like, it would be to my detriment sometimes, because I would just get so like, I have to be perfect. I have to do this. And I'm not saying that all my outfits are perfect, but I was consumed in making sure I didn't embarrass anybody. Now I'm kind of like, I do me.
Yeah.
I mean, I like being right, but no.
Interesting. Well, and in Ontario, it's commonly the case that people make clothing for the crown, and especially for big events like their coronation and step down and that sort of thing.
I made all my dresses for my coronations. I think that it seems to be more common for people that are not necessarily textile oriented, that they have people make it for them. But no, I've never had anybody make my outfit.
Well, let's plow through the rest of these slides really quick. So this is the next one, and we recognize this guy by now.
Yeah,
so.
I picked this. I love this picture of my husband so much.
Yeah.
He's a 14th century persona development laurel.
Okay.
And I just feel like this embodies his whole thing.
Cool.
He's so dreamy.
He is dreamy. He's dreamy. Except for when he's not. This picture, actually, I'm incredibly proud of. This was our encampment at 50 year. And our household, our group of friends, whatever you want to call us, we really try to have a very nicely presented camp. It's kind of a big deal for us. And this picture, our camp it had the biggest courtyard for of anyone in our kingdom at that particular event. And so for our kingdom court, it was held in our encampment. And this was us getting ready. And then my best friend, I don't know if you can really see her very well, but you see my husband. Then if you look to his left, you'll see a gentleman in 14th century with green and the white hood. And then you'll see the girl sitting down on the it's probably a chest next to him wearing all white. She was just getting ready to be recognized as a pelican. So her ceremony was getting ready to start. But I love this picture very much because it just looks very pretty. This picture is just to show that's my sister in the middle. She doesn't like to have her picture taken very much. She's a camera dodger, but that's my sister, and she's probably bossing me right there.
I love it.
These are my apprentices. Don't judge them by their glasses. I clearly am. No, but teasing girls, don't get mad. But no, these are my apprentices. One, the girl sitting down next to me, she has actually been recognized as a laurel and very, very well respected in our kingdom. And then the other two, they're on their way.
Yay.
These are my girlfriends. That's my best friend in the green coat Hardy, and that's my very good friend. And it's just, I like this picture, so I picked it. These were pictures of our encampment. If you notice, the pictures here look very similar. It's one of the walls that I have behind me. So it's a really pretty picture, and I'm very proud of our camp. And it was a good picture when Ulrich took it. So
It's nice.
I need to finish my wall. Okay, so I was about to say I need to finish my wall. I need to actually start my wall.
yeah, Joel, get on it. Get
I
on
know,
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right here is, I said that my husband is the hero to my story, and he is, but this gentleman right here, he's my other hero. His name is Gregory of Beck, and he is a complete example of chivalry and honor. And I love him very much. So, and that's my best friend. She's pretty cool too. That's down there with him. This is my family. And that's my husband, and that's my little girl, Lily, that you can probably hear yelling in the background. And that's my niece, Sophia. And this is at our stepping down, I think. And see, we're all kind of matchers. It just shows how short I am.
I wonder which one of you duchesses tonight are shorter.
Ooh.
I'm 5'2".
Well, I'm 5'7". No, I'm lying.
No.
No, I'm about 5 feet tall, on 5 feet, 5'1".
I win something.
I don't know. You get to be taller. This is at Penzic, and as you can see, the Dread Lord and her king are standing next to us. So
I don't know who that guy is.
no,
Nope. Don't recognize him.
move along, Peck. No. I chose this picture because we really don't, other kingdoms have all these roses pictures, right? It's like all the ladies who have been queen, or the consorts, I should use the right words now. They all get together and, there's always pictures. Our kingdom really doesn't do that. And this is probably the only picture I have with a whole boatload of consorts. And here you'll see Nisa, who you interviewed 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a while ago. Nisa is the queen, and she's the little shorty that's got her back to us. And she's actually talking to us about who we thought should win the Shield of Chivalry that day.
We have not interviewed Nisa.
Yes, we
Oh,
have.
you did?
Oh,
Yeah, we
wait.
did.
What's her modern
That
name?
was Christina.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get my wires crossed with
I was
people with
like-
mundane names on Facebook, and they're doesn't
I was
stay-
like,
No.
am I having like a moment? I thought I watched it.
no, it just doesn't stay in my brain. But
No,
I
gotcha.
remember other things like what I put in their gift basket.
And I'm pregnant in that picture, but
Ah.
just an FYI.
Very good. Very good. And then this
And
is
that's
delightful.
my niece, Sophia.
That's adorable.
Oh, she's adorable. I love her. And this is a picture at the same site where you saw me getting invested as Baroness, and also my husband he got knighted at the site. But this is really at the beginning of my SCA life. And it's a whole bunch of girls, and we're all still friends. Some are duchesses, some are knights, some are, some have moved on and done other things, but it's just a really good, for me, a grounding picture to remind myself where I came from. Because it doesn't matter how many crowns you win, whoever wins, it doesn't matter. You always need to remember who's standing on that list field that day with you and who is your friend. And these ladies are definitely, it's like probably 25 years old, this picture.
That's very cool.
See Sir Kelwyn peeking out. Did you see your little face? But
So normally our next question would be to ask about how reigns are structured. But when we did interview Christina, we already have a lot of information about Artemisia in general. But what I thought I would ask you instead is maybe talk about when you mentioned that you were a royalist and what that means to you, because I think that that's a word that not everybody necessarily defines the same way. So I'd love to hear that.
well, again, I'm old school, so I was raised in a household. We were part of Belt, right? Like Artemisia wasn't its own kingdom when I first started playing, and we were part of Belt. And I was raised in one of the big super households of Belt. And so a lot of our history and our thinking actually is very Aten in many ways. And we were in Duchess Anna's household in Tarragon, and it really raised a lot of us. And one of the things is how we were taught to play. It's very formal. Like when the crown comes in the room, we stand up. You're the king's man. You're the queen's man. You or whatever. Those type of things. It's just because that enhances the game, right? Or the lifestyle choice that we've all decided to be part of.
It's interesting because if you're in a place where that isn't I've only lived in kingdoms where that's the case generally. I mean, even in the West where, it feels like everybody gets to be royalty at some point, people still like those routines and observances and, honors are still really important.
Sure.
And in Ontir, we're very much that way. So it's,
right.
I can't really imagine how to do the SCA without it. So it's always interesting to hear that there are other customs. So
in our kingdom, it's some people are less formal, right? And when you're less formal, in my opinion, I'm not saying that that's the wrong way to reign or anything like that, but it kind of takes that spark away from court. It takes, those kind of moments that like, this is the king and queen. This is, and for me, it's just, I'm a very formal person when it comes to those things. It's how I was taught.
One of the things I noticed, I'm going to just interject. Sorry. I visited you and your household last year, and you have built such a strong community and a beautifully diverse community. Is that modeled off of the Tarragon household that you were part of?
I would say yes. Many things that we do in our household are very much like Tarragon. And, Brian and Anna left their mark here in our kingdom before they moved back east. They definitely did. And you see it in Sean's household, Sean's Argos, Duchy Argos, Sean and Christina's. It's very, it's their own for sure, but it's also very hints of Tarragon. My generation of friends and buddies, when we first started up, like we were kind of almost the last generation before Brian and Anna left that came up. So for anybody that's come up after, and Brian and Anna, moved, so they don't really know them. They only hear stories about Brian and Anna when, Brian and Anna, but because they're so wonderful. But at any rate, it's just very different. We definitely do our own thing, but I would say one of the biggest takeaways we took away from being part of that and still being part of that, we're still part of that household, is the look of our encampment. Like it definitely. I remember Brian and Anna had these 2 giant circus tents when I first started playing. I was like, these tents are crazy. Like, how much did they cost? That's like, oh my goodness. I remember saying to my sister, did he buy this giant circus tent? And she was like, yes, like Carrie, but it was impressive to me. But we have a smaller scale because Tarragon is it's a mega house, I would say, or it used to be, but many things from them we've learned. I don't know if she's watching. I feel pressure if she is. Don't judge me if you are. She's judging.
Well, you didn't take it from them. You were inspired by it.
Oh,
And
for
then
sure. They were my first
molded
king and
it.
queen. Absolutely. They were my first king and queen. The first event I went to where I kind of knew what was happening, they were the crown. And so, you know how that imprints on you, you know, that's who, especially if you're inspired by them, that's who your forever king and queen are. So that's who they are for me.
You know, Your Grace, do you remember the first event we met at?
No.
I do.
Mean? Was I mean to you, Joel?
No, you corrected me, and it scared it scared me so bad.
That's mean.
So
That was mean.
no. I
What did I
deserved it.
do?
It was like my third or fourth event in Artemisia, and I had just gotten my golden pillar.
Oh,
For those
fancy.
watching that don't know what the golden pillar is, that's the AOA level service award of Artemisia. That was also the first not fighting award I've ever received in my career.
Nice.
And I was very I was kind of completely caught off guard by it. And Lachlan and Vegas gave me the award, and I come back, and you were hanging out in the back court with Duke Floki, and I made a joke kind of offhand, like, I don't even know what this award is, and I made it as a joke because it was a not fighting award. And Your Grace, you put me so fast in my place, and because you take it seriously, and that was actually a great learning experience for me, because you looked at me and you were like, don't you ever take away from a service award in this kingdom. And you gave me your mom voice, by the way.
My stubby finger out.
You gave me the mom voice, but it was actually a great learning experience for me, because I didn't realize I was accidentally taken away from what that award may mean to other people.
Well, I will say this. I am very lucky, Joel, that you love me after I was such an asshole to you. So
I love you so much.
Joel.
He tells that story all the time.
It's true.
All the time.
I brought it up a couple times now, actually, because
Nice.
it was
Great.
like
Great,
anytime
Joel.
someone that's like, you know, almost a foot shorter than I am can make me go, you know, it's a good moment, and it sticks with me.
Joel, those are the most dangerous ones.
I know.
It's not judge me by my size, will you? You got to really be careful. The short
I know.
one will
I
get you
know
right
better
banana.
than
Right
underestimate.
So,
So Your Grace, you've been lucky enough to have recognized a few very deserving peers in your time during the reigns. And you've also been able to attend a few different vigils, whether as the royals that were able to offer it, or as just walking by and you saw a vigil tent. What's the core advice that you like to impart on someone that is about to be recognized as a peer?
Don't wear all your regalia if you don't look like a peer. And my husband's, he actually, Shaxi and Rivkin asked him this question when they interviewed him for the murder of Dukes. And it's like, don't wear your belt to the shower. Don't wear your medallion if you've got you can wear your terry cloth robe. That's all cool. Fly that flag, wear it. But don't wear your medallion when you're not dressed as such. Like, just wait until you get back to your tent and present yourself appropriately. Because people see that. And, you know, you don't want that brand new person meeting you on the road to, like, you're coming back from the showers. And I mean, we all know what everyone looks like coming back from the showers. Come on. And have that be their first impression of you always, right? So, or the SCA, like, you know, you want people to think that it's a serious thing, and it's a good lifestyle choice to choose.
I'm just impressed that you have events where they have showers. That's not an on-tier thing.
Ooh.
We don't have showers at events. That's
Well,
amazing. That's such a blessing that you should not take for granted at all.
Sure.
So
I rent motorhomes now, so
that's good.
but I still have a pretty camp. Like, I'm still part of a pretty camp.
Yeah.
I go to bed in a nice, warm, dry place.
It's good advice. I actually think that everybody should just make themselves like a big SCA coat that's lined with towel fabric.
Yeah.
You can just wear back from the
Yeah,
showers.
that's a great idea.
In which case you might want your belt, but I'll leave that up to you.
So my consort got so mad at me because at the Australia that I got recognized at, I was able to pick in the Outlands prize tournament. I got to pick like second or something like that. So there was
Nice.
like extant belt buckles there and like, a hand carved collapsible bench and everything. And I totally picked a Duchess Conliac Whoopee coat because I had been cold that night.
Those things are coveted though. Those things are coveted.
Yeah, but I didn't even like think about it. I completely walked past like the extant knife blade that was there, and I grabbed the Duchess Conliac Whoopee coat, and that's my pimp coat now, and I love that.
I'm sure she was super excited that that's what you chose, Joel. Though coats are like I said, they're a big deal.
I had been coveting a Conliac coat for a long time. For those that don't know, actually Conliac is my great knight's consort. So there we go. Lineage, yo.
Lineage, yo.
Speaking of, that was actually a great accidental segue. Holy cow. Hey, so whenever everyone comes into the SCA, there's always that moment when you see someone and you're like, holy crap, that is who I want to be when I grow up. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like the first people you run into or anything, but who was the first people that you looked at and you were like, I need to be like them when I grow up? And give them a shout out.
Laurelyn. Laurelyn.
Aww.
Laurelyn. Over and over again. Laurelyn.
Me too.
And it probably would have been a Shoxie too if I would have met her then. But
No, if you had met me then, you would not look up to me.
Now, in fairness, when I became a Laurel in the West Kingdom, and I felt completely undersuited for it, I was like, why are you making me a Laurel? One of my first thoughts was there were two people that weren't Laurels yet that I felt it was a travesty, and one was a Shaxi and one was Garanduch. And I was like, I'm going back to Ontir. I'm definitely going to lobby for these two people to become Laurels who should have been Laurels before me. So
Nice.
It is one of the benefits of being elevated.
for sure.
So let's see here. Trying to think of how I want to.
So there, Dawn.
So take that lovingness, Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A Choxie, because I'm not going to use your real name while I'm on this.
No, but
SCA call.
a Shaxi also taught me something really valuable, which is the value of the snot pile. That if you have one, you should always hold on to it because it allows you to be a cautionary tale for other people. And in her case, it was like this literal sort of snot pile of felt that she had over felted and turned into a pile of felt snot. It's just exactly what it looked like. Didn't it eventually become a goat or something? You made it into a stuffed animal. But she had this snot pile that when she would teach people to felt, she would pull this thing out and say, this is what happens when you do XYZ, or when someone's like, I don't know, this seems really hard. She's like, here's my snot pile. I thought you should see it because it's important to know that things can go wrong, even if you're really experienced. So now I always have a snot pile that I can show somebody and go, this is what you should learn from, and to be unafraid to show off your snot piles. So
I've never heard that phrase before.
Other people probably say, yeah, other people probably have more elegant ways of talking about it, Joel. But
I 100% will never say that, Shoxie, but please know that I support you in you saying that. Because that word is gross.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the point, right? Here's my snot pile.
I've never heard it used in any kind of context like that before.
Oh, Joel.
I know. I'm so sheltered and innocent. I swear. Don't laugh at that. You're great.
Sure.
I saw that.
Bless you, you summer child. Yeah.
Your Grace, what is, if you could snap an award into existence? This is my thinking phase.
Let me see. What are you going to ask me?
Yes, what am I going to ask you?
If you make an award, what award would it be?
Yes, we follow a pattern here. So if there was one award you could bring into existence.
And it doesn't have to be serious. It can be whatever you want. We've had some pretty varied results.
I will say that I have been very fortunate to be able to do that. So when our kingdom, when Conrad and I, the first time that we reigned, we had a 9-month reign because our calendar dates changed. And it was just at that point where we needed to really have grant level for things, that it was time. And so Conrad and I, we had peer circles all over the kingdom to consult the orders to see how they wanted, because really it's their award, right? Like the service award is for the Pelicans. Like they should have had say, and they did. And we went through the kingdom and we decided that the grant level awards really needed to focus on leadership and in that particular area. And so we were able to kind of start that whole level, and we got to create all those. And I also, with my husband, created the Keeper of the Keys, Joel, which you are a recipient of.
Cool.
Sure am.
So
creating awards is fun, but I wish so many reigns didn't feel like they have to do it. There is definitely, I think, a tendency sometimes, and it's like, do we already have an award that will satisfy this, or we rewrite an existing award? But it is kind of cool just to see what different reigns think are important, you know,
yeah,
what
for sure.
Yeah, what they really wanted to emphasize. So
we were, it would have been any of the crowns. We were just lucky that it happened during our tenure, because it needed to happen, right? Like we only had AOA awards. And when we left Atenville, we lost that principality. And so our principality awards served as our mid-level awards, and we just whoosh, it was gone. And so there was this almost this recognition or lack of recognition that was happening unintentionally. So that's kind of why that happened during our reign.
And I am super thankful for that, because I've received the grant from I got my grant in Artemisia. I got the Keeper of the Keys from Artemisia. And actually the one award I think I've ever coveted in the entire SCA, I received in Artemisia with the Gradios. But yeah.
Sir Gregory of Beck is the premier of that award. Did you know that?
That guy is so freaking cool.
What is that award?
Kelvin actually has that award too. Joel, you have it. Why don't you?
So
do you know why you have it, Joel?
I was actually really caught off guard on it, because that is it's a word for being very gracious and courteous, and presenting yourself as such, and so kind of setting that example of grace and courtesy. And while I have a very strong core belief of grace and courtesies, I also tend to screw that up a lot. And so it was an award that really caught me off guard. And it was amazing to have that recognition.
It's a cool award. It's definitely a cool award.
Like, it genuinely touched my heart. And every recognition does, but like that one, like it caught me off guard. And that was the same one that I had been awarded the Shield of Chivalry. And so that was a very emotional. You guys have a
Shield of Chivalry, don't you, in Ontier? Do you guys have the Shield of Chivalry?
It's not called that if we do. It's going to be called something with lion in it, like the Shield of Leonis or something. What
is the Shield of Chivalry?
We have a tradition here where at Crown Tournament, it is the Queen's privilege to give the shield. And normally the consorts, those who have been royal consorts prior, they watch as well. And remember that picture I showed you with us all standing in a circle? And the Queen comes to calls us all together, and we confer about who we thought was the most chivalrous that day. And sometimes knights get it. It's not very common. I mean, it's more common now, but it used to be mostly for non-belts. And it was also a really good way to show these up and coming fighters, you know, you're doing a really great job, and all of the Queen consorts have seen you do this. So
that's nice. We do have an award, but it's in fact not just for knights or fighters. It's the Belated Rose, and it's more of a like a lifetime recognition award from anyone who has been a royal consort in Ontier, which includes
that's nice.
roses, and we have the valorous estate as well. And so it's any former consort, and
Nice. That's nice.
we do it sort of as an informal,
Mhm.
formal polling order. But it is a big deal, and we often are looking for people that where the recognition as chivalry hasn't been given to them. So to try and kind of find those pockets of people that are doing work that isn't quite as obvious.
Nice though.
So
That's nice.
yeah, but I do like the idea of there being some kind of on the field recognition of a fighter. That's
Yeah,
really nice.
it is a big deal for guys, or I'm saying guys in a very generic term, so please understand. I know that women have got it as well.
All the y'alls.
Y'alls.
All the y'alls.
y'all.
But it is this kind of metal janky old shield, isn't it, Joel? And it really is painful if you're hit with it unintentionally by somebody who is walking around with it. But it has all of the names. Does it still, Joel? I don't, because I haven't seen it for a while, but it has all the names of the people that and the queen that gave it to them, all on the inside of the shield. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of like their version of the white scarf that I saw Tiana and Nisa talk to you about.
Yeah. And I'm thinking also about what you're both describing, which is when you receive certain awards, that deep connection with the person or crown who
for sure
gave it to you. And I think, as irreverent as I'm being right now, when you're on the throne, it is so different. Like I am very, very formal on the throne. And so is my partner. And the reason being, we don't want to be the reason somebody didn't have a good memory of when that award was given to them, how important that is, and making sure that everything's just right, and that they, that we get it right. We get their name right. We get everything correct. And, that is really important. And there will be people who I'll meet them and they're like, oh, we've met, you gave me my AOA. And I'm like, bless you that, I don't remember that, but I hope it was right when I did it. I really, really hope it was a moment that felt like a real connection for you, because when we gave it, we meant it. So, but we don't, it's really,
it's not this frivolous thing that we just did.
No, it's a really big deal.
For sure.
Yeah.
We have a tradition in it's a tradition loosely. When people are recognized with a laurel, many ceremonies, the way it works is they call the herald, and this is kind of going back to the mispronouncing things. The herald has to read the roll of the laurels, all the laurels that have been made within Artemisia. And so as the poor herald is going through those names, and they get messed up. I mean, come on, they get messed up. Some laurels were made 50 years ago, and they don't know how to pronounce their names, and don't know them very well. But it happens, and you see the herald stop. But whoo, if that laurel's there and their name is mispronounced, you see them, they're like, my name is Kortland. Like, but it's a cool tradition. We have a lot of really neat little traditions like that in our kingdom that make things special.
In my local regional laurel council, because Ontario is big enough that we're divided into regionals, we usually do the great reading of the list, because anyone with a pulse who does art is on our list. So these names aren't names that we necessarily know, but whoever bravely reads them is much admired.
Oh,
and sometimes if they'll play along, we ask her or him to do it in a special accent. Like, could you read the list as Dracula or whatever? And sometimes we get a treat because the names sound very different.
That's funny.
I can't even get through an introduction on this show every week without screwing it up.
You sassy Ontario laurels.
We are sassy. That's how we put up with the long, dark winters. So
for sure.
It's a survival skill.
Yeah, it is. You gotta have a sense of humor.
What is your favorite event in the SCA? If you could tell anybody that they had to go to one event, what is your favorite event that you've been to and that you want people to know about?
Well, Penzic is kind of a given, right? For a lot of people, some people don't like it. I love Penzic. I love it. Harvest War, to me,
Where's that and what is it?
It's in Utah. It is in the Shire of Coteau, which is Logan, Brigham.
It's like an hour north of Salt Lake City for
Yeah,
legit-
north, but not Ogden because that's its own barony. But yeah, don't do that. But it's in this beautiful canyon, and it, for me, is when like the fall colors change, don't they, Joel? I mean, just explain the site. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful site, and it's fun, and lots of fun parties happen, and it's just a very good time for our kingdom. That event.
Yeah, they get to hold court down in like a grotto area that's completely forested but cleared out. They have like a clearing underneath like this.
Not like Hugh Hefner grotto.
No, slightly less weird, but not by much.
Yeah.
So, but
damn.
it's this beautiful site, and yeah, it's great. Like it has kind of like an upper level where kind of like parties are, and it has like a lower level where things are a little quieter. But yeah, it's a beautiful site. That is, you know, I kind of feel bad admitting this because I lived in Artemisia for 4 years. I never went to Uprising. It is what it is. And but so Harvest War was always like the main Artemisian event, and kind of what symbolized how beautiful the whole kingdom is. You know, I mean, I've got a major bias since I'm an Artemisian.
Yeah. It's like fall colors and stuff. It's just really pretty. It's very pretty. And I love Raptor War. I can't say I don't. I love Raptor War.
Raptor?
I would like Raptor War more.
Like raptors?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
raptors?
Yeah, like that.
Like, because of the World Center for Birds of Prey is in Boise, Idaho.
Cool.
So it comes from there.
What is an event on your bucket list still?
Well, I would have gone to Gulf Wars had COVID not hit and Countess Samaya and I had to turn around in New Mexico and come home. But so that, and I would like to go to Rowanee.
Oh yeah.
Which
That
one?
would be awesome.
I think Gulf Wars is pretty achievable, but you know, Rowanee Festival would be pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Gulf Wars is, I've never hidden the fact that Gulf Wars is my favorite event in the SCA. Love it, magical. We're gonna get there. Perfect time to mention that, by the way. Hey, we can never have these kind of things again if we don't renew our membership. So please, my friends, renew your membership, support the SCA where you can. But now that I've said that, so because like I think my bucket list war would be Double Wars over in Drakenwald.
Yeah,
They make it very doable. You know, they have like barracks tents set up for people flying out there. You know, so I think that would be probably my bucket war event. Chuck, so what's your bucket war event?
Oh, I would like to go to Gulf Wars. Maybe Cudgel.
Yeah.
Duchess Kiva talks about that really glowingly, and Rowanee would be, you
That
know,
would be amazing.
Never heard of Rowanee. I feel like I've been missing out.
What's the event where everybody gets to sit around and drink wine and play with puppies and look at arts, but otherwise don't have to go to any meetings or do anything else? Is that an event?
I feel like that's Sport of Kings for me because I'm from out of kingdom.
I want to go to that event where that's just all you do. There's no meetings. I want to go to the meetingless event. So any event right now, I feel like our bar is low for the bucket list right now would be to like kick this pandemic in its considerable ass and not be barred from seeing each other again. That would probably.
We
I wanna
have
go to any
several
event.
online events that we've done several virtual events.
Yeah.
Artemisia has been really great about having virtual events and making it really accessible. You know, they have big old online like Zoom meetings where everyone can be in there and then they can get surprise called up in the court. But Artemisia's been doing really good with the online events and hopefully making the SCA still accessible to everyone while we wait for this global bastard to kind of die down a little bit.
We do need a complete anachronist. You know, what was it from the Skin Out? What used to be a resource, but I think this needs to be from the waist up. And it's just a costume guide to only making like really cool clothes from the waist up.
Yes.
And yeah, It'll be
Totally. Gym shorts and
cheaper.
Crocs off camera right now, y'all.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Star
So if
Wars
somebody,
movies.
I think if we could do a pandemic complete anachronist, it would be great from a posterity standpoint. So maybe we should do that. So, well, what really occurs to me in your situation, Kortland, is that because you're a Duchess, you're Laurel, you're a Pelican, you are a Griffin of Artemisia, what kind of keeps you in the SCA and continues to inspire you, having accomplished so much already? And, you know, what do you strive for, or look forward to in the SCA that keeps you going?
Well, what keeps me going? I mean, there's the Pat people, but I will say that I look forward to the day that Sir Gregory of Beck is king of all Artemisia. And I also look forward to the day that Sir Gabe is king of all Artemisia, as well as their beautiful, lovely consorts, who both would be amazing and dynamic queens. So I look forward to that day. That keeps me inspired. Yeah. And, I feel like I've chosen to be part, like this, like I say, lifestyle choice, that I stole that from Gabe, wise old Gabe. And it is a lifestyle choice. And it's not something, my mom, when she was, declining, and when she passed away, I took some time away from the SCA, but I always came back. Like I always had people checking on me to make sure I was okay during that time. And again, like my husband is deployed, and it's the pandemic, and I have a little person at home, and I have people who make sure I'm okay all the time. And, they inspire me daily.
And they adore you. I want to just let you know that in the comments,
Are they saying things? Are they saying things?
All messages of love.
Though I do want to say, for the haters out there, this is my podcast and I can say snot as many times as I want to.
And don't worry, Kortland. Gabe poked in just long enough to say that I suck, and then he left.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
But you're adored, and it's easy to see why. But I think also the comments are, a lot of them are about, that what you represent to them in terms of the example you set, and that is really important. And it is really, I think, validating to see, when people, their vision of you aligns with what you hope your vision of yours, how you hope you're impressing them. So,
well, let me just say this. I've certainly made many mistakes throughout my 20 plus years in the SCA. I've made many mistakes with people. I am somebody who I'm loud, and I'm obnoxious in many ways, and I'm bossy as hell. And I know this about myself. And I've made some mistakes with people where, what some people don't know about me, and I'm just going to say this, is I'm super OCD. I have like a complete, total, like germs, and people touching me that I don't know freaks me the fuck out. And I do think that with having that issue, many people assumed, like, if I was like, or, that kind of thing, they thought I was mean, or that I didn't like them, or I was giving them the stink face, right? And sometimes I am giving the stink face, but sometimes I might be thinking, like, what am I going to eat for lunch? Those type of things, and I'm deep in thought. So if somebody is watching this and they did feel that I ever offended them that way, I certainly hope that, please know that I didn't ever intentionally mean to, because anybody, all of us here, because we're all peers, we go through that with people, right? Like you can unintentionally, as a Laurel, go, oh, why'd you do that? And suddenly that artist is crushed, and you didn't mean it like that at all. You were just asking, why did they do that? So I really hope that people, if they watch this and they take that from this about me, is that it's really, I mean, I am intense at times, and I am incredibly bossy, for sure. Ask Joel. But, most of the time I will say it's with good intentions. So,
And I'm
just
gonna
don't touch
I'm
me
gonna
if I don't. I just don't like to be touched.
Well, I feel honored then because you've actually offered me a hug straight up because I'm a hugger. I'm a big time hugger.
I know you are.
But you've given me a hug before I initiated, so I feel really honored.
Did I hand sanitize after? I probably did.
Oh yeah, immediately. Yeah, you had it in your little wrist bag that you had.
I'm teasing, but it's
But
just a thing, right? So just always kind of go into it, not assuming the worst about people.
You know, it's something though, as a small person, you know, hugs can also be really overwhelming. And I think
absolutely, absolutely.
you know, people don't always think about that, like, especially if you've ever been someone that people like to pick up, which don't ever pick somebody up. Don't pick people up. Just don't do it. It's not nice. And it hurts and it's not comfortable. And so I think there's a lot of reasons why, if you're smaller, having, you know, a real solid sense of agency over your body is important. And
Also,
the SCA, go ahead.
When you're short and some man or lady who has just got done fighting comes up and they want to hug you and you're short, where does your nose hit?
Yeah, that's not okay.
It's just, and when you're germaphobe, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I am with you on the germ thing because I'm like, we are all like one package of Imodium away from dysentery at any given SCA event, and that is not okay with me. And
yes, preach. I am with you on that.
Super gross. I don't know how people have intimate times at events, especially in Ontario where we don't have showers. That is super gross. People stop doing that. It is grossing me out. Like all of that. It's all gross. It's all dirty. There's not enough hand sanitizer in the world. The pandemic has just really made that worse. And now you know more than you probably wanted to know. But it is important to think about how we have expectations of people in positions of power and authority or royalty or whatever. Like if I refuse a hug for somebody, am I being a jerk? You know, and is that reflecting on me as a peer? Or am I just practicing agency over my own body and I don't want to hug somebody, or I don't want to have my hand kissed, or I don't want to be touched, you know? And there's a lot of layers there to unpack, and probably also that has to do with the role that gender has played in the society. One of my very first events, somebody slimed all over my hand, and I've never forgotten that. I don't want my effing hand kissed or touched by somebody's mouth, and I never have. And these things are just sort of that grosses me out. I know other people like it.
They love it. More power to you. But when you're a germ person,
for me, yeah. But if I refuse, it's my responsibility to refuse something like that with grace. Or if somebody's a creeper, to shut them down in such a way that I can use my privilege in the SCA and my authority to keep someone else from being creeped on, you know. And I think, you know, with all the stuff that has come up in recent years around the Me Too movement in the SCA, it's precarious at times to think about, well, I'm protecting myself, but I also have a responsibility to protect other people.
And when you're a 21-year-old girl and you suddenly been put into this leadership position, like, you don't really have it together at that point. At least I know I didn't, like, ownership of myself to be like, no, thank you. You know, it takes a while, I think, for some people to get to that point. And
you know, and I'm a hugger, and I'm also an idiot, and so it's been really good friends of mine that have, and it's you know, and it's strong people that have been able to stand up to me, or you know, just kind of go, hey, you're being an idiot right now, and you're Grace Kortland, you're one of my friends and someone I love and adore so much because you've told me, hey, Joel, you're being an idiot, because you have that courage, and you have that courage to stand up.
Might have just been being bossy.
Well, no, but like I don't know any better. I'm clueless and oblivious, and I think a lot of people are very receptive when you're in an in-person setting. Online is a whole different beast.
For sure. Yep.
You know, people read a text with their, you know, perceived bias and everything. But one of the reasons why I adore you so fucking hard.
He adores me hard.
That's a quarter for the quarter job. I said effing. You
That is
can edit
too-
yourself, Joel.
That's 2
I
weeks in
love
a
you,
row
Joel.
now. I am not doing good with this, y'all. But one of the reasons why is because you have this ability to make the people around you be better. And you inspire this amazing loyalty. And that's seriously why I was so happy when you and Conrad asked us about joining your house, was because you have these amazing people and incredibly intelligent people, Mistress Sarah, Sir Kelwin, Sir Greg, all these amazing people in your household. And they're all people that are brave and intelligent, and they're all inspired by you. So there you go. I adore you.
This is the thing, though. They're all their own people in the SCA. That's the thing that's the most important thing. I think about having a really nice, good household is that really there's not a boss. It switches, it ebbs and it flows, whatever we might be doing, but everybody has their own voice and they're their own person. And I think that's important.
And Kortland, you used the word bossy about yourself, which as a feminist, I don't use that word, but I will tell you, I have a little sign that says I'm not bossy. I just have the best ideas. And I think
That's
it's
good.
a great way to frame it.
It's good.
Right? I think you
I
probably
might
just
have
have
to-
you just have the best ideas, right? So
And some evil partners in crime.
there you go.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was the one that came up last week? Dagbear, was it the booger flick, and what was the contact that was?
Oh,
that
we
the
were
one?
talking about, do you have a tell that if you don't want to talk to somebody,
Edie.
do you have a way of like getting out of conversations or a secret sign or whatever? And I was saying I just flick a booger at them, and that's how they know I don't want to talk to them anymore.
I do not booger flick.
No, you seem like you're far too elegant and graceful for
I don't know
such
if I'm
things,
elegant.
Kortland.
I'm pretty lucky that my girlfriends, if I'm in a situation, they kind of veer me out of them. I will say I've had some people, because you're in this position, right? You're in a leadership position. People feel like they know you personally because you've sat in front of them, you've been this person to them. And, you have some people say some pretty wild things to you when you're crowned, like just amazingly inappropriate that you would not say to somebody that you did not know walking down the street. And some things are wonderful. But when those times do happen, they're really good about, I don't even have to, honestly, I don't have to have a signal because probably I make a stink face and I'm like, because I have no game face. I have no game face at all. I'm like, I gotta get out of here now.
We probably have great simpatico because I have people that will look at me and go, stop it. Because the look on my face is so severe because I'm so intensely judging a situation, and finding someone lacking. They're like, stop it. I'm like, what's the problem?
Well, I also sometimes I just say completely, random crazy shit because I get bored and I'm like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I rode horses for 15 years and then I fell off and broke my back, which is completely a lie. It's totally not true. And people are like, you did do that? And I'm like, I absolutely did. And my girlfriends are like, stop it. They're like, don't believe her. They look at me, don't believe her. She's lying. Don't believe her. It's just, it's not a good habit. But it's funny at times.
So
we're coming up to the end here. Yeah. Joel, go for it.
One last question I wanted to ask was, you mentioned earlier, Artemisia has been very involved in keeping the online SCA, and I don't want to say ESCA because that's kind of been taken over.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Negative connotation to it, but Artemisia has been very active with online events and trying to keep things going while the pandemic is running its course.
Right.
What do you see on the other side of the pandemic? Whenever we're able to start meeting again, do you see things being a mix? Do you see things being do you want to see things kind of go back to how they were? Like, where do you see the SCA going once we're all
I think it will be a mix. I think that things like this are important. It's not just important, because it's filling our time between this this thing that we're trying to figure out right now. But it's important because what you guys are doing is you're recording history of people. You're recording this. And I think that we'll see less of these things like interviews and things because, you know, you can't keep it up forever because that's a lot. It's a lot. And you deserve to have your life back. But every day of the week is crazy. But your service is not like in question. Holy cow, that service to the SCA. But what I'm saying is, I think that there will be a mix. And I think that some people will only do online stuff. I think for them, that's it. And I think that the diehards, when this is done, will go back to in-person things. I think our events will be smaller for a while as people start to become more comfortable or pull themselves away from whatever they were doing to kind of fill their time while this pandemic is happening, you know? So I think it'll be smaller for a while, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also that we've talked in the past about how depending on where you live, like a kingdom like Ontario, where we have huge geographic area and 2 countries, we have an international border.
Right.
We have, I mean, it's not even tenable to travel across the kingdom for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And as traffic and the population in the core of the kingdom has gotten higher and higher, it just takes longer and longer and it's more and more expensive. It's a very expensive part of the country to live in. So given that, it becomes almost an equity issue that people, if they can't participate online, it takes away their participation altogether. And I
Right.
think that one benefit of the coming out of the pandemic will be that some people will get to participate in a way that works better for them. And
Yeah.
other people, I mean, and maybe we need to be smaller. Like maybe we need kingdoms to, you know, be smaller or to have more regional activity in places where that hasn't been the tradition. So just to think about it, like what is it really costing people to do this, you know, in terms of time and resources and everything else. So.
And
Yeah.
you know, that's one of the things that like because like when I started the SCA, I was in a shire that was very removed from the rest of the principality. Our nearest group was in a different kingdom 5 hours away. And so having this kind of online content now, you know, back then the internet still made the annoying sound whenever you dialed on and everything. But you know, having this kind of content available right from the get-go would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, having you know, for having interviews where, you know, people can go on and see, you know, kind of like, hey, I'm interested in this. I wonder what is on the YouTubes. You know, I would have loved that. So yeah, I would like to see this kind of like as a mix going forward. Obviously, you know, I'm a steak jock. I'm always going to be a steak jock. I'm trying to be more. So apologies to my Laurel Fia for calling myself a steak jock. But you know, I hope that we can see kind of that continued mix going forward to where we can make the SCA more accessible to people that may not be able to travel, may not be able to see it. Especially because, you know, Kortland, you know, Artemisia is huge. You can drive 14 hours and still be in Artemisia. So maybe it doesn't.
Well, where I live, I mean, we're 3.5 hours from the closest group. And, you know, Pocatello is not right next door to Boise. So, I mean, we have to learn to love ourselves in our own area because it's who we have to play with.
So we always close off these interviews with a virtual gift basket because we can't actually hand you one.
Right.
And so we've prepared a gift basket for you. And because it's virtual, it can have anything we want in it. And we mean anything. So we would normally on such an occasion have had our people ask your people about some of your preferences. So like milk or dark chocolate?
Peanut butter.
Okay, peanut butter instead of chocolate or chocolate with peanut butter?
Reese's.
Okay, Reese's. Okay, Fair, totally fair.
I'm a big girl. Big girls like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Okay, I noted. It's all data. It's all data.
Data.
Red or white wine.
I don't like wine.
Okay, you can pick
But
something else.
I like Blue Moon with an orange slice, even though it's terrible and everyone knows that is what I drink.
It has its place. That's
In my belly. That's where it has its place.
Joel, don't bring the proceedings down to your level. That's
sorry. I accidentally made things peasantry for a second there.
Nice. Good
and
job.
then our puppies or kittens, Kortland?
Puppies.
Puppies. Okay.
For
So
me, chickens.
chickens? We could do chickens instead.
I can't have chickens.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay. But do you like them? Do you like chickens? You
I
just
do
don't?
like chickens.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Your gift basket, first of all, it's a beautiful basket and it doesn't have any handles because you can't do anything with a basket with handles. You can't store it or put it anywhere. And this is really important to me that you not end up with a basket with handles.
Mhm.
So or maybe they could be the folding down kind of handles. That would work.
Nice.
But anyway,
Yeah.
no handles on this basket. And it has, of course, like a metric crap ton of Reese's peanut butter cups. But I'm going to
Nice.
tell you, they're the small ones that are individually wrapped,
That's
so
fun.
that because they last longer and there's more chocolate to peanut butter ratio, and that's my bias that I think
Yeah,
is important. Yeah, those are really good.
for sure. Yeah.
And then there is definitely going to be some Blue Moon in there. It'll be the optimal temperature and pre-sliced oranges so you can enjoy them at your will.
Mhm.
And
Thank you.
there will be chickens in this basket, but here's the important thing. You can give them back. So you can just like sit in a small room and play with the chickens for as long as you want. And then you're not responsible for them afterwards. Somebody else is just going to take them away.
So legit, I would never touch a chicken, but I would have Varia touch the chicken and hold it while I looked at it.
Perfect.
What if we had a harness on the chicken carrying hand sanitizer?
That is cool and fashionable, especially if it was like a Louis Vuitton harness. Like that would even be better.
That's good.
Touch it.
So you could,
But we could put like a little backpack on it with hand sanitizer.
you know what? This is jumping the chicken. So let's definitely,
Let's jump the chicken.
you get to look at them and do whatever you want with them.
Mhm.
And watch them run.
It's
'cause
done
that's
right. Yeah.
Frolic about my house.
Yeah. So, and then we're also going to give you 2 plane tickets that are open to go anywhere in the world, anytime. It can be 3 if you want to, or 4 if you want to take other humans with you. But I think just 2 would be good because you can go anywhere. It's just an open ticket for when your beloved husband is back and you guys can just like take off and there's no pandemic where you're going and you can go anywhere you want. So together, go to any event, go to Rowan-y, go to anything you want. So those tickets, that's what I would want to be able to
Does it
do.
have to be SCA related?
No, in fact, no, do whatever you want. You can go base jumping if you want. They're for you.
Ew.
So that's what we would give you if we could. That's what I would want to give you anyway. Joel, would you want to add anything to this gift basket?
Well, I already volunteered the chicken harness hand sanitizer. I feel like I'm doing pretty good over
I
here.
feel like you're gonna carry this basket, dude.
No, I have a squire for that.
What
I
about one
know.
of those backpacks that have the clear panel on it, like
Nice.
Baxi?
The bubble cat.
Their
The bubble cat backpack.
Yeah, and you could just have a chicken in
yeah.
there. So when I was a kid, there was this horrible place in Tacoma, Washington called the B&I, which was like a really bad, at one time was a nice-ish kind of odd department store type thing, but it was like super rustic inside. It's where Ivan the gorilla was living for a long time, if you've heard of him. Anyway, they had these machines that you could put money in and there was a chicken inside and you could play tic-tac-toe or whatever against the chicken. And I was absolutely fascinated by those things. And I think that would be a fun thing to have.
One of those things that I do where you say something completely crazy.
I mean,
I feel like it is.
everything I just said is true. The thing that maybe is up in the air is what I want done with this information going forward.
I am all about a tic-tac-toe playing chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead
Are we ending this now, Joel? Are
Oh
you
my God,
carrying my
yes, that
virtual
was-
basket for me?
Yep, the virtual basket I will
That's
make
what's
sure
in your-
is delivered
yes.
to you.
That is what's in your basket.
Well, thank
And-
you.
And if we, if we could give that whole basket to you, we definitely would. We really appreciate your time. This has been super
Thanks.
fun. Go back and read the comments and see all the love that's been extended to you and the abuse that's been heaped on Joel, which is super amusing. And I do recommend reading all of that. It has been saved for all of eternity on Facebook.
Oh, great. Great.
So
Well,
And-
thank you guys. Thanks so much for having me. And thank you, Shoxy, for being here with me. I appreciate it. I love you.
Your Grace, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really enjoyed this conversation with you. You know that all the harassment and everything is said. I genuinely love you and I love your family. And thank you so much for spending the time with us. For everybody watching, thank you for joining us. Join us next week where we will be interviewing Duchess Zenobia.
Zenobia. Yep.
That's what I said.
Good job.
And thank you so much. Everyone stay safe, wear your mask, use hand sanitizer, and renew your membership. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.